One of the most common questions that I get from homeowners in Central Oregon right now is this a good market to sell my house? And my response is always the same. And it's kind of like, do you want to sell your house? Because here's the thing, the market conditions do matter, but your reasons for selling matter more. And if I can understand your why, whether it's the house is just too big now with everybody moved out, or you can't keep up with the maintenance like you used to, or you're trying to be closer to grandchildren or want to be in a warmer climate, then I know whether we're actually ready to have the conversation or whether we need to slow down first. This video is for homeowners who have been in their home a long time and are genuinely trying to figure out if 2026 is their year to sell. And I am going to give you an honest answer. First, a quick picture of what Central Oregon market looks like right now. The Central Oregon 2026 market is not the free-for-all frenzy seller market that we had in 2021. It's also not a buyer's market. What it is a market that rewards the sellers who are prepared and who are priced correctly, and it punishes the sellers who aren't. In Redmond right now, homes are sitting 60 to 100 days on market, depending on the price point. And the typical seller is seeing a 3.5 to 5% reduction from their original price before actually getting an offer and going under contract on their home. And that number is telling us that the sellers are still starting too high and then adjusting down. The ones who price correctly from day one are not the ones that are sitting for 60 days. Last month, a home sold in 0 days, and in 4 days, when they're priced right, they move. The buyers are here right now. People are still moving to Central Oregon every day from California, Washington, Portland metropolitan area, and beyond. But buyers in 2026 are more selective than they were a few years ago, and there is a surplus for them to choose from. They have lots of options. That means that as a seller, your preparation and pricing are going to matter more than it did when everything was selling fast and high. Here is the important conversation that everybody needs to have. Does this make sense for you specifically? If you bought your home in Central Oregon the early 2000s, there's a good chance that you have a significant amount of equity that you're sitting on, and it's worth so much more than what you actually paid for it. For most homeowners that are long-term in the area, it isn't ever really a question of whether the market is good to sell. The question is, does your personal situation and your conditions, your home's condition, line up with whether or not it's the right move for you? The sellers who do well in this market are the ones who've maintained their property consistently over the years of ownership and who understand that pricing is a strategy, not a wish. That second part is pretty important, so I'm going to say it again. Pricing is a strategy, not a wish. I had a seller in Texas, and this couple custom built this beautiful home. I mean, there were so many cool upgrades for them to park their big trucks in the garage and their covered patio, and they added hot tubs and they added an ADU and all this really cool stuff after they had bought it and while they were building it. And they needed and wanted to sell their home. They wanted to be closer to family. And so we sat down for our listing consult and we went through everything that they'd done to the home. And I was just scribbling away in my little diary and trying to remember everything because there were so many things that they had done. And before I'd got there, they had actually sat down and tallied up how much all of those things cost. And they added it to what they had paid for the house, and they, kind of figured they'd made market adjustments. And when I asked them what number that we should list their home, they gave me a number that had nothing to do with what the market was actually saying for our area and their type of house. And I understand why they did it. It feels logical. You put the money into the house, you should get it back, right? But here's what I told them. And I tell every seller that comes to me with that list and they've tacked on top. Most upgrades that you do to your home do not convert directly to price increases when you go to sell. And a lot of those customizations that you have done in your home, you probably did for yourself and not for the resale value. You did it because you wanted that. While those upgrades totally matter, and we definitely want to list them when we put it in the MLS, the price still has to sit in the price bracket that it belongs in, with homes that are similar, have sold recently in the same similar part of town. They didn't want to hear it either. And because it was their right as a seller, they listed where they wanted to list. That home was on the market for almost 2 years. They missed Christmases, they missed birthday parties with their family where they were trying to move to, every holiday, every gathering, and they had to keep their house show ready for anybody who might want to come through and is going to put an offer on their house. And that meant she couldn't decorate for Christmas. She had boxed up all of her other decorations because we were surely going to be sold by then. They couldn't cook any foods with the really strong smells, because what if somebody came in and said, "Oh, the house smells bad," and they bought air fresheners. It was a whole thing. They had to constantly leave with their animals for the open houses and anytime we had a showing, and it went on for 2 years. And they got super burned out. Like, it was tough on everybody. And when it finally sold, it sold for more than $150,000 below what they had started at. And I think about them a lot, not because the outcome was inevitable. It wasn't. It's because the gap from what they wanted and where the market actually was could have been closed much earlier if the decision was different at the start. Well, what does correct pricing actually look like? It's based on comparable sales. Similar homes in similar locations that have actually closed, not currently listed, not what your neighbor told you they got their house for 2 years ago, and not the number that Zillow throws at you when you're just kind of scrolling on a Tuesday. It accounts for your home's condition, your neighborhood's current supply, and what buyers are actually paying right now. And if your home has not been updated, you can still sell it. You just need to price it honestly for the condition rather than try to test a high number and then adjust down later, because by then you've already burned through the best window of your home being on the market. One more thing worth mentioning: if you've owned your home for 20 years, you need to consider capital gains and the federal exclusion. So if you make more than, the federal exclusion is $250,000 for a single filer or $500,000 for married couples filing jointly. So if you're going to be taking more than $250,000 or $500,000 as a married couple net from your home sale, you need to talk to your CPA, because they need to walk you through how you are going to handle the capital gains tax and all of that. I am not a tax advisor, and this is not tax advice. It's just a flag worth raising so that you can move along and you don't have any surprises after the home sale. Is now a good time to sell in Central Oregon? Well, if your home is well maintained, you understand that pricing is based on market and not your receipts, and you have a real reason to move, yeah, it's a good time to sell. Buyers are here, the equity is there for the long-term homeowners, and correctly positioned homes can still generate strong activity in the first 2 weeks. If you're planning to sell purely based on market timing without a clear plan of what comes next, and you're not ready to actually price for your home's condition or the market activity, it would be a good time to take a step back and slow down and have a more complete conversation first. Either way, the best place to start is with an honest picture of what your home is worth right now and what you would realistically net at the end of the day. It just gives you real information to make a real decision. If you want to have that conversation about your home sale in Central Oregon, the link to schedule is below. And if this was helpful, please subscribe. I make videos specifically for Central Oregon homeowners who want to understand this market before they make a decision. I make new videos every other week, and I would love to have you.